Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed lesson 1. Welcome back to lesson 2. And today we will be talking about uncovering player positions. So, there's 5 positions on the court. There's the first one, which is also called the 1, which is the point guard. This player is responsible for bringing the ball up the court, and they're essentially the one that leads the team in assists, and they're responsible for facilitating or getting the ball to their teammates. They're the best passer, typically the best passer on the team. The second position is the 2, which is the shooting guard. Shooting guard typically which is another perimeter player, has a good jump shot, can also be smaller, undersized, similar to the point guard, and essentially it may also have the ability to, like, that's similar to the point guard. So those 2 positions are very similar. They're considered the backcourt. We have the third one, which is small forward, and that is like the hybrid. They can kind of do it all. They can score. They're generally bigger than shooting and point guards, but they are also smaller. And they're typically smaller than power forwards and centers, which leads me to the next 2 positions, which is the fourth one, which is power forward. This player will assist. Generally works and operates in the paint, which is inside of the 3-point line, and they assist the center in rebounding, and they're generally bigger than the previous positions, but it can be the same size or a little more mobile than the center. And the last position is the center. And the center works at the pivot, typically the least mobile of the 5 positions, but they're also the biggest and the strongest. This position operates mostly inside the perimeter, or inside the 3-point line. Some professionals nowadays have developed the ability to shoot 3-pointers, but that's very advanced. So for them, they're responsible mainly for scoring off layups and getting rebounds offensive and defensively. So last week we gave an overview of the 3 different types of passes. Today we're going to go into further detail of chest pass and the bounce pass, and like the characteristics of both of them. Passing in general is the quickest and easiest way to move the ball around, and is the most effective element of the sport. And passing is much faster than dribbling in terms of getting the ball from point A to point B, and which that segues me into the next point, with that being the chest pass being the fastest pass in how it can get the ball from point A to point B, much quicker than a bounce pass or an overhead pass could. Yes, the chest pass is the fastest way to get the ball to the teammate, but it's a lot easier for the opponent to intercept when it's in the air from probably belly height and up, because your hands are easier to reach like that. But when you're doing a bounce pass, you have an opponent in front of you, and their hands are up. And where are the weak spots? Up there, where they would least put their hands to the block. Their hands are ready to catch or intercept. It's between these areas by their feet, because it's much harder in terms of length of our arms and reach, and as far as it's not really expected, especially that's a big reason to do the bounce pass. The negative part of the bounce pass, though, is when you use it, it's slower because of the bounce. The bounce slows down the ball. And when you throw the bounce pass, if you don't judge your distance too well, and you throw it it bounces too early in relation to the distance between you and your teammate that's receiving the ball will bounce up too high, which makes it easier to get intercepted. We're going to demonstrate examples of how we can move the ball quickly and create a scoring opportunity through passing. Set time. Alright. So now we'll be covering our shooting section of the video. And we'll be covering shooting technique. So there's 3 phases of a shot. It happens really quick. It happens the preparation phase. That's the first one. The second one is the execution phase, which is the shot itself. And the third phase is the ball phase, after the ball has been released. So, quick things about the preparation phase. I'm facing the hoop. I want to have my eyes on the target. Feet are in a good stance, comfortable stance. Some people are shoulder width apart, some people are a little narrow. I'm probably a little more narrow than shoulder width, but whatever's comfortable for you. My hands are positioned, 2 hands on the ball, and my left hand, obviously I'm not holding it like this. You'll want your dominant hand more centered, and your non-dominant hand is to support, is to hold it as support. And when you're shooting, you don't want to shoot with both hands. Your non-dominant hand is just assisting in holding the ball to bounce. In this hand, your dominant hand is doing the motion. Second phase is the execution phase. Then your elbow will be up. You'll raise the ball to shoot. Your elbow will be up, and your body will work in unison. So this just comes with practice. So you'll extend your arm, meaning straight on your arm. You'll extend your legs. So it'll start. In the preparation phase, your knee will be slightly bent, generating power. When you're in the middle of the shot, your elbow will straighten out, your knee will straighten out, because that generates the power of the shot. Now at the very end, you'll flip the wrist. And you'll see the rhythm of how these things go together. Don't overthink it. This is just visual, this is just verbal cues of what can help with your shot. The best thing to do with shooting is practice and get your reps shooting in. And so the last phase is the follow-through phase. In the follow-through phase, essentially, after the ball has left your hand, you're holding the pose of when the ball left your hand. What I like to do, what works for me, is essentially, so when I'm looking at the hoop, I'm aiming just above the front rim. And when I hold my follow-through phase, I'm doing it as if I'm putting my hand, reaching it into the rim. Like you're putting your hand, and think of it, a cue for me is put your hand in the cookie jar. First, I'd like you to start off just practicing a jump shot. And then, maybe you can record your jump shot. And maybe you can see visually what you're doing. Then watch this video, listen to what the pointers were, and see if you were naturally doing those things, or if you might need to make adjustments. So, but we'll continue practice and give points of that and give tips that would help you this year. Talking about dribbling. So in this section, I want to say it's important to dribble with a purpose. And dribbling with a purpose means you don't dribble just to dribble. You dribble to shoot, or you dribble to pass. A lot of times, when people are dribbling just to dribble, it gets them into trouble, and it's misuse. So in basketball, a lot of times, many times, you don't need to dribble. Like passing is the main option. But the reason we do practice dribbling is because there will be times where you will need it, and it will help you out of trouble. So then before we get into any advanced dribbling drills, we want you to start practicing dribbling with your left hand, dribbling with your right hand. And you don't want to be dribbling the height of the basketball is important. So if I'm dribbling like this, in front of me, it's really easy for someone to steal it. You want to be, and I don't want to be too like knees locked, back overextended, because then I'm not really in an athletic position. So I want to be ready, knees slightly bent, and then this helps me. This position helps me keep balance. And if I need to explode, then I can leave off this position. So I'll practice my right hand counter dribble, left hand, and the thing is, you always have to dribble with one or the other, like one hand. You cannot, this dribbling with two hands, that's called double dribbling, and it results in losing possession of the ball. The referee will blow his whistle, and the other team will get the ball. So those are the big things, takeaways. Dribble with the purpose, dribble to pass, or you dribble to shoot. Practice your dribbling, left and right hand. Be in an athletic stance, have your knees slightly bent. And when you first start, you'll want to watch the ball. But as you get better and progress, you look around. Maybe you can dribble while you watch TV, or watch a show, or watch Netflix. Or maybe you can have your brother or your parent hold up fingers and you have to look and see and say what number they're holding up. And this forces you to keep your eyes up. Because the best dribblers can dribble without looking at the ball. But that comes with lots of practice. And then lastly, what ties into that is the height at which you dribble low as part of the opponent's skill.
So today we're talking about rebounding and why rebounding is important. It's important because you need it to win the game. So you need it both offensively and defensively. Now, 3 things that make you a good rebounder. It all comes down to your physical, mental, and emotional skill. Today we're going to be talking about your emotional skill. So, how bad do you want the rebound? So do your desire, and what are you willing to do to get that rebound, which is your courage. So those are the 2 things.
Alright, next section will be on offense. And we'll be covering the straight line drive and the drive jump shot. And the 2 are going to go hand in hand, because they're going to, if you can do one, it's going to set you up for the other one, in terms of how it will affect the defender psychologically. So, here's an example of the straight line drive. But with that one, that is essentially you're beating the defender off of the dribble with quickness, and you're going in for a layup. And this is the most direct offensive attack. Straight line drive. Beat a defender off the dribble, go straight to the basket with the layup. Typically, we're going to do this, we'll start off practicing going toward our dominant side. So right-handers, they're going to find it easier to go right. Lefties are going to find it easier to go left. That's just how it is. And so, say I beat my defender multiple times off that move. They're going to know, like, okay, he's been beating me off that same move. I'm going to go in and commit to stopping the layup. And he's going to start expecting it. And this is when, like all sports, is when you implement deception. So you start setting things up. You have option 1, you have a counter attack. You can go back to option A and option B. In this case, option A would be the straight line drive. And if he tries to take away my straight line drive, commits heavily to it, then I'll use my option B, which is the drive jump shot. Here's an example. They're committed to stopping the drive, and they're thinking that I'm going to drive and lay the ball up. But you stop suddenly and raise up to shoot. And this is effective, and it's only 2 moves, but those 2 options keep the defender on their toes and keep them guessing, which will make you a better scorer. So now we'll be introducing the give and go, which we touched. So it'll implement some stuff that we've talked about in the previous videos. So give and go utilizing the backdoor cut and the front cut. And so we'll give some examples. This first example will be give and go using a front cut. This example will be a give and go utilizing the backdoor cut.
Okay, so now let's talk about defense and discipline when defending. Now there might be times where your body is tired and you need to push yourself. That's where discipline comes in, but we also need to have discipline when following the coach's game plan. For example, if we are playing defense and the coach's plan is to stick player to player, then we stick player to player and we won't be playing a zone. But if the coach wants us to play a zone, then we stick in the zone instead of marking our player.
And introducing footwork. So there's 5 that we're going to be talking about. First one is the trot. Second one is sprint. Third one is change of pace, change of speed. Second one is change of direction. And the 5th one is the 1-2 stop. So with the trot, that's the most control. It's like a nice and easy jog. You're under control, you're relaxed as you're dribbling the ball. The second one is you're moving fast, you're going as fast as you can while being able to dribble the ball. Third is change of pace. And this is very, very important because in basketball, speed helps a lot, but those that can change their pace and be able to go from slow to fast at any moment, or fast to slow, which is called decelerating. Accelerating and decelerating. Those are very important. And then change of direction. Which means you're not moving in linear lines. You can face one way and get to another way. This opens up angles of where you can attack from. And 5th is the 1-2 stop. This is like footwork. That's very important when you're picking up your dribble to shoot. So I'll show you ways of how this looks. So first one, we've got trot. Nice and easy, jog, under control with the ball. So I'll trot to a layup. Now we're going to go sprint with the ball. Next we have change of pace, change of speed. So we'll go slow. Change of speed can be slow, fast, acceleration, fast, slow, deceleration. Here's slow to fast, acceleration. Change of direction. This could mean I'm going to utilize a crossover right here. So if I'm attacking at this angle, now I'm going to go to the right. I'll change direction from here. The 1-2 stop works when we're dribbling and we stop to shoot. So I'll dribble, 1, 2, shoot. There is the 5 footworks for this video. We'll cover more and build onto it in the next one. There's 5 ways to apply it and practice it without the ball. The trot, just practice a nice easy jog. Sprints. direction. And we have 1, 2 stop. So we have those are some ways to practice it. For the 1, 2 stop, I recommend going in zigzags. And when you go to the right, your first step will be with the opposite foot. So if I'm going to the right, left foot, right foot. I go to the left, right foot, left foot. So there's 5 of those to practice.
So for this week, we're going to be talking about perseverance. Now, there'll be days where you don't feel like going outside and shooting, or you don't feel like joining in that Zoom call, but don't worry, like keep pushing because you can only get better. So